Akshay, did you always knew what you wanted to do when you passed out from MBA?
I was all over the place. Saurabh, what about you?
यार मेरे को तो तब भी आइडिया नहीं था, आज भी आइडिया नहीं है.
Confused about your career choices? Wondering what steps to take next? In this podcast called Beyond Campus, Saurabh Garg, founder of C4E, and Akshay Datt, founder of Unnati, are on a mission to crack open the career success code for the youth. वो बचपन में कहते थे ना, तुम जो चाहे बन सकते हो. So, let's turn the dream into reality.
Hi, I'm Vinayak Shrivastav, CEO and co-founder of Touch.
Probably the most common ways in which big companies get built is by accident. The founders started with an original idea, realized it was not working, did some pivots, and ended up executing a different idea that scaled up. The story of Touch and its founder, Vinayak Shrivastav, is very much along these similar lines. Toch.ai is a SaaS company with a cloud-agnostic AI solution at its core. The solution works towards unlocking the potential of videos by making them more engaging, reducing the time and cost of production, and making them more monetizable. The platform allows automatic meta-tagging of data, identification of key moments, and processing the video content like never before. Through state-of-the-art deep learning AI technologies redefining video content across platforms. Today, Touch is a pioneer in its niche and is chasing a truly global opportunity after having witnessed a 400% increase in revenues in the last year. Here's Vinayak telling Akshay Datt all about this wonderful journey.
So, Vinayak, tell me about Vinayak as a kid. What was your life like growing up?
Vinayak as a kid was one of the most notorious one on the block. He was the one who was always falling into troubles. Spent more time on field than inside the class, and that was by choice. ऐसे नहीं कि आप punish हो गए और निकल गए. That was by choice because I was into a lot of extracurricular activities. I represented school in various sporting events. Was very active on the tennis circuit in India. Actively participated in football tournaments. Represented my school at a national level also in football. So obviously spent a good amount of time traveling cities, playing. I got a good amount of support from the school as well when I was doing this.
You
But
grew
while
up like in a middle class family?
yeah,
Like,
very
what
much.
were the aspirations growing up? Like, parents की
Well,
aspirations होती हैं बच्चों के लिए, वो क्या थी मतलब?
middle class family aspirations are always the same, right? That बड़े होके बच्चे engineer बनने चाहिए, engineer doctor बनने चाहिए. So that was always the aspiration when we were growing up, that we were conditioned in a way that इसके beyond तो और कुछ हो नहीं सकता है. But obviously, like good for us, and obviously even our parents kind of understood as we started growing up that मैं बहुत सारी चीजें हैं लाइफ में करने के लिए. बट वो सिर्फ एक बोलने की बात रहती थी. When it actually came to taking those hard decisions that अभी 10th standard खत्म हो गया, अब next क्या करना है, it was again back to same thing that arts लेके क्या करोगे, commerce लेके क्या करोगे, science ले लो, फिर देखेंगे क्या करना है next. So it was always those things like obviously the aspirations were that okay, we understand how the world is evolving, we understand we want to keep up with the pace, but when it comes to taking decision for your own kids, you obviously want to do the same playbook thing. It should be science after the 10th, it should be engineering after the 12th, and other things kind of get lost in between, which happened with me as well. I wouldn't
So,
kind of.
where did you do your engineering?
I did from Pune University.
Huh. So, means you stayed at home only. It wasn't like a
घर पे ही
hostel.
रहो, yes, घर पे ही रहो, घर पे ही पढ़ाई करो. 10 बजे तक घर आ जानी चाहिए, पढ़ाई होनी चाहिए. ये टिपिकल जो आपका साइकिल है वो कंटिन्यू होना ही चाहिए किसी भी हालत में. So that was the thing. Obviously, फुटबॉल खेलने का एक ये था, पैशन था, जो बहुत जल्दी डाई डाउन हो गया इंजीनियरिंग ज्वाइन करते ही. बट वो इंजीनियरिंग के लोड के चलते नहीं हुआ. फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग में ही मेरी एक्सीडेंट हो गई थी फुटबॉल खेलते समय, where I had to go through a knee surgery for my anterior cruciate ligament and meniscus tear. Obviously, I was able to recover in 6 months, and I was again back on the field. But obviously, then that setback kicked in where the focus slightly changed. While I continued playing and I continued representing my college in various events, obviously the focus slightly changed, because when you kind of go through such an injury, your aspiration changes, saying that, well, anything can happen anytime, so you need to always have a backup plan. And when you're coming from a middle class family, you know that, while you have nothing to lose, there's a lot to gain, right? And the existing opportunities can be very, very kind of limited for you. You're not going to have an entire open play area for you to do multiple things and experiment with things. You're going to have to try and make your way around with limited options. तो दैट्स व्हाई द प्लान बी किक्ड इन भाई. फुटबॉल तो मतलब करियर नहीं हो सकता है, और इंडिया में तो नहीं हो सकता है, तो अगर ऐसा लग रहा है तो फिर प्लान बी तो रेडी रहना चाहिए. दैट्स व्हेन द फोकस स्लाइटली चेंज फ्रॉम ट्राइंग टू डू दिस obviously, and then start getting more focus on the educational side.
So when you finished your engineering, what did you do next? Like, which year did you pass out, and then did you join a job, or what did you do?
Yeah, passed out in 2013, immediately joined a job. Pune में थी, factory थी, we were designing washers for Tata Motors. Job was fairly simple for us, easy for us. And obviously the company which I joined, they had started a football team again back in the Pune division. So the entire cycle followed. The company join करने के बाद 9 to 4 काम करो, and office नहीं चालू किया था, तो everyone was asked that football team भी join कर लो. And if you join football team, you will get your Saturday, Sundays off. You will get your 9 to 4 में आप 4 बजे निकल सकते हो, all of that. So I was like, सही, अगर ये सब option मिल रहा है तो ले लेते हैं और जाके football भी खेल लेते हैं. So did that, 6 महीने किया, but obviously after doing 6 months of just design aspect on the mechanical engineering side, kind of got bored of it. तो फिर obviously और कुछ करना था, तो office में try कर लिया that let's do business development. उसमें कुछ excitement आ जाएगा. And that's what really piqued my interest. Business development really caught my eye, and I said that ये सही है, ये कर सकते हैं. And then I started doing business development very specific.
क्या बेच रहे थे आप, मतलब
वॉशर्स ही तो बेच रहे थे, और क्या बेचेंगे.
अच्छा, okay.
Same चीज बेच रहे थे, just that client base increased a lot. That was basically what was happening.
So this was like auto companies and ancillaries को.
Correct.
Okay. So, and how long did you stay with Tata then?
Tata नहीं थी, कंपनी के नाम था KMO. I was with them for exactly 8 months. Because फिर से अरमान जाग गए पेरेंट्स के, दैट फिर से MBA करते हैं, चलो अभी इंजीनियरिंग खत्म हो गया, नेक्स्ट क्या MBA ही तो करना है. Then I started applying, obviously, gave my GMAT exam, gave a bunch of things, tried to kind of see which colleges. One thing led to another, got into London Business School, and obviously went to London for a year, did my MBA.
How did you fund it?
Oh, loan लिया था.
अच्छा, okay.
That was a complete loan taken thing. So got a very small scholarship which was able to cover my weekly rent, but nothing more than that. And weekly rent maybe वो 70% ही cover होगा.
फिर उसके बाद when you passed out, did you try for a
London
job?
में तो जॉब नहीं मिलने वाला है.
हाँ, बहुत ही मुश्किल
जॉब तो
होता
नहीं
है.
मिलता है. So वो तो obviously there was an extended internship that I got, and उसमें जितना पैसा कमा सकता था कमा लिया. Then obviously I had to come back to India. So came back to India. 2015 landed back in India. First thing I did was I said that Pune में तो मिलेगा नहीं वो type के paying jobs. And obviously when you have a loan, you want to clear that first. There's everything else is secondary for you. You want to clear loan first, student loan. So hunting a job which I could at least use to pay my loan off. So I was open to doing literally anything and everything kind of thing at that time. Luckily landed up a right opportunity in the venture capital side. There was an early stage fund that I joined.
And
एक साल थे
were
वहाँ
you
पे.
able to pay off your loan in that 1 year?
That was the only reason why I was there.
मतलब जिस दिन लोन खत्म हुआ उस दिन जॉब छोड़ दी.
हाँ, उसके 1 महीने पहले ही पेपर डाल दिया था.
अच्छा.
But that was an interesting journey, right? Because that got me excited towards startups. Because that was उसके पहले तो मतलब startup का ऐसा कुछ था ही नहीं. Startup करेंगे या वहाँ पे कुछ करना है. वो that inspiration came from kind of being on the other side of the table, looking at people, listening to people, and day in and day out, kind of understanding about businesses better, and why and what really drives an entrepreneur was what really got me excited. That every morning when you get up, it's a new morning for you. You can achieve at the same day, you can achieve and you can get broken also. So that really inspired me. Obviously,
Were you able
uh,
to close any deals?
yeah. We invested in decent 5 companies during my stint, at least from what I was managing. Obviously, there were a lot more deals that happened. I was managing 5 deals, but that's pretty much it. उसके beyond ज़्यादा कुछ किया नहीं.
This was
The
like
5 deals.
pre-seed, yeah, seed.
Yeah. The fund was fairly small, so we used to do all pre-revenue, pre-seed kind of deals. So we had a standard template to follow, a playbook that we used to follow.
क्या थी
For
playbook?
all
मतलब
deals.
what would impress them enough to write a check? क्या वो check boxes क्या है that these should be
वैसे
ticked?
कुछ नहीं था. So usually early days, and this is we're talking about 2015, right? अभी तो 2021 में the investment cycle has become so hot in India. 2015, the basic playbooks for us was looking at just a couple of sectors. Even though we called ourselves sector agnostic, we were just focused on a couple of sectors driven on technology side. So we're looking at bots. This was 2015 में हम बात करें. We're looking mainly at bots. We're looking at mobility sectors. We're looking at tech. AI was still like a jargon being used back then with no clarity what it can do. But we started scouting for AI companies in India. एंड 2015 में तो इतने सारे स्टार्टअप्स भी नहीं थे, तो मतलब हमारा इवैल्यूएशन काफी स्ट्रिंजेंट रहता था. फनल यूज्ड टू नॉट बी लाइक टुडे. If you actually go to a VC, you go to a network, you'll see the funnels being upward of 1,000 companies a month, right? Our funnel used to not be even 100 companies back in 2015, because obviously companies are a thing, but the kind of lot of cream that you're looking for were not even 100 companies. Today, because of infrastructure access ecosystem growth, the funnel has grown a lot, right? And kudos to the entire, I think, the venture capital industry in India, how it has reacted to scenarios and how many funds have kind of become active in India is a validation of how fast we are growing as a country. But at the same time, back in 2015, ये सब was
नहीं,
very
मुझे
new,
ना
right?
थोड़ा पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ वीसी चाहिए. हर बंदा सोचता है मैं स्टड हूँ, मुझे फंडिंग मिलनी चाहिए, बट वो वीसी क्या देखता है? मतलब यू सेड के क्रीम में बहुत ही कम कंपनीज थी, तो हाउ डू यू डिफाइन क्रीम? वो व्हाट
See,
वुड...
absolutely. There are various stages, right? Early stage seed fund pre-revenue are always betting on founders. It's never a bet that you're taking on the company. But that time you really can't predict what's going to happen in the company, right? मतलब you're investing early capital जहाँ पे proof of concept MVP आपका barely अभी establish हो रहा है या नहीं भी हुआ है. But it's just basically like a very idea stage. आपके basic एक prototype आगे जिसका market ही नहीं है understood है. Defining, doing a market research is all kind of faulty there, because whatever you define will get broken in the next couple of
हाँ हाँ,
months or a
you're
year.
selling a
Yes.
dream basically.
बस आप बेसिकली वहाँ पे आइडिया बेच रहे हो, और मतलब वहाँ पे थॉट रहता है दैट यू आर बेटिंग ऑन द फाउंडर. क्या ये बंदा मेरा कैपिटल मुझे रिटर्न कर पाएगा? दैट इज अ बेस ऑफ एवरी वीसी इन द अर्ली स्टेज. नथिंग एल्स. कैन माय कैपिटल गेट रिटर्न बैक? नथिंग एल्स.
And
एंड
what defines
दैट्स
a
व्हाट
good
इट.
founder?
See, you now for me, it's never about the background, right? A lot of, and this is something that is very evident in the industry. A lot of VCs or a lot of your networks will have a kind of defined template that they should be passed out from these colleges or these educational background. For me back then, it was that a good background is someone who has some experience before starting what he's doing. Like the story should connect. The story should connect. ऐसे नहीं मैं मतलब रातों रात ऐसे ही कुछ चालू कर दिया. The story should connect somehow, that why they're doing that, why they're trying to solve that problem, and जो build कर रहे हैं उसमें relevance क्या है. Until unless he or she is not passionate about it, they will not be doing something groundbreaking, right? वो तो फिर मतलब एक वो हो गया that entrepreneur करना है, entrepreneurship करना है, चालू कर देते हैं आज के डेट में. कुछ पैसे आ गए तो सही है और बना लेंगे, नहीं आए तो नहीं आए. But the value proposition and story sells for me back then was that there should be a compelling story. Everything else was secondary for me. The story should connect. If you're trying to do something, you're trying to do a e-commerce website, right? The story should sell. Why you want to do it? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? And this is back in 2015 when we were trying to kind of address this. That problem solve करने के लिए there should be an understanding of what you're trying to solve. You should have some relevance. And the age did not matter, the background did not matter, but understanding should be there. If you don't have an understanding, you're going to scout for understanding, and scouting for understanding is expensive. There you need real money there to kind of get people in and try and build that capacity. And early stages, you don't have that kind of flexibility. So your early on flexibility is just yourself and your knowledge. So that early knowledge becomes very, very important.
Okay, got it. ठीक है. तो वो एक साल के बाद यू क्विट एंड यू वर एक्साइटेड कि मेरे को भी स्टार्टअप फाउंडर बनना है, तो क्या था आइडिया फिर, यू नो?
नहीं, तो 2015 दिसंबर में मैंने क्विट कर दिया था. क्विट करने के बाद तो ऑब्वियसली आई वेंट थ्रू दिस एंटायर साइकिल ऑफ कंसल्टेंसी बिकॉज दैट वाज अ गोल्डन एरा. कंसल्टेंट्स वाज इन डिमांड. कंसल्टेंसी वाज इन
कंसल्टेंसी फॉर व्हाट? फॉर
डिमांड.
क्योंकि
मीडिया
कंसल्टेंसी
कंपनीज.
तो
मीडिया
अच्छा
कंपनीज.
अच्छा
So media
एंड
companies, and so I ended up getting a consultancy project from one of the largest media conglomerates that मुझे इंडिया में low bandwidth में buffering का issue solve करना है, and which was just a well defined 6 months project. Very good money, well defined 6 months project. If you ask me today why I took it up, was money initially, but obviously as the project started, I got too kind of inclined towards the entire space because I had to build my own knowledge and understanding to kind of serve the entire end-to-end solution. So that resulted in me
इसमें
talking
व्हाई
to.
वुड दे कीप यू एज अ कंसल्टेंट? ये तो टेक प्रॉब्लम है ना. व्हाई डिडंट दे
नहीं, so
गेट इट?
उनका थॉट प्रोसेस था, इंडिया में टैलेंट चीप है, इंडिया में काम चीप में होता है. So they were trying to outsource this into various countries. The problem for this media companies was, let's go into every country and try and kind of outsource it to try and solve the problem locally. The intent was because US में आप बंदे रख दोगे, बहुत expensive रहते हैं ये problem solve करने के लिए. And at scale, if you're trying to solve a problem for 10 different countries, and to scale in US is going to be very expensive. You can do it in 1/10 of a cost back in India. So for them, it become very easy that एक consultant को hire करो, which will be our point of contact. उसे बता दो क्या प्रोजेक्ट है, क्या बजट है, एंड टाइमलाइन दे दो. ये टाइमलाइन में कुछ अचीव हो पाया तो सही है, नहीं अचीव हो पाया तो ड्रॉप कर देंगे. सिंपल. इट्स लाइक एन R&D पीस दैट यू कीप रनिंग इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, बट जस्ट दैट यू आर नॉट काइंड ऑफ टेकिंग कॉस्ट ऑन योर हेड, और यू आर नॉट टेकिंग रिस्पांसिबिलिटीज.
Well, in a way, you were like the project manager for that company, where
करेक्ट.
you were given a problem and you had to find resources, hire them, get the some sort of
करेक्ट.
MVP.
सो वाज गिवन
हाँ.
अ कंप्लीट फ्री हैंड. आप किसी के साथ भी काम कर लो, आप IT कंपनीज को दे दो, जो करना है करो. 6 महीने में ये रिपोर्ट हमें चाहिए, ये रिपोर्ट में क्या डेटा फाइंडिंग्स होगा, we'll figure out. Now, obviously, when that started happening, obviously the inclination towards media space started growing a lot. Because you're kind of day and night doing only media, you're trying to kind of then understand problem statements in the media industry. So obviously, I started speaking to a lot of guys in the media industry that problems क्या हैं आज की date में. And slowly, that's how the idea of touch started coming in. Obviously, जो start किया था, जो अभी कर रहे हैं, बहुत difference है उसमें. But the base product ideation started back in 2016 January, I would say. That's
मतलब
how the
थोड़ा
thought
मुझे
was.
वो एग्जैक्ट बताओ ना, लॉन्च कैसे हुआ, लाइक क्या लॉन्च हुआ,
So,
कैसे लॉन्च हुआ?
so 2016 May is when we started the company officially. Project
नहीं,
खत्म हो गया, कुछ
एंड
करने
ये
के लिए नहीं था.
टच, मतलब टच का क्या लॉजिक है, एंड व्हाई इज
Touch का
इट
तो
स्पेल्ड
logic
एज
simple था. So touch,
TOCH?
we wanted to spell it as TOUCH,
हाँ.
and TOUCH का डोमेन था 12 लाख का उस समय, और TOCH का डोमेन था 499 रुपीज पर ईयर का. तो इसलिए हमने बोला इसे हम TOCH लेंगे विदाउट अ यू, और हम ही मतलब we'll be one of the first few idiots to try and call touch without a U. And हम सबको educate करेंगे that ऐसे भी आप touch को spell कर सकते हो.
Okay.
Obviously पहले कुछ महीने में ही पता चल गया ये तो ना हो पाए किसी से, but then we kind of then said that अभी रख दिया कुछ नाम, और ये नाम तो कोई replicate करेगा नहीं. कुछ भी हो जाए, no one is going to try and start a business calling themselves as Toch, and starting में तो companies के बहुत सारे नाम हो गए थे. Toch, Toch, Toch.
हाँ, मुझे लगा टॉक था.
तो बहुत लोग ऐसे नाम देते हैं उसको. तो we realized that we will educate people over a period of time, जैसे जैसे बढ़ते जाएगा, and let's call it Touch only. And internally also we started giving it two names, Touch or Toch. So either of the things we'll call it, is what he said, and we said that जैसे जैसे ब्रांड बनते जाएगा लोगों को पता चल जाएगा क्या है.
किस मार्केट के लिए आपने लॉन्च किया? मतलब आपने आप
Now
सोचा होगा ना
I'll
कि
tell
मैं
you
ये ऐसे पैसे कमाऊंगा. वो पैसे कमाने का क्या था वो प्लान?
see, the plan that time was very easy, right? हमने बोला था हम next YouTube बनाएंगे इंडिया में. This is back in 2016. जब YouTube पे कंटेंट बहुत हेवीली अपलोड हो रहा था, एंड इंडिया में बैंडविड्थ के इश्यूज थे, फिर भी 3G पे सब चल रहा था, 4G तभी भी आया नहीं था. तो 2016 में हमने बोला हम नेक्स्ट यूट्यूब बनाएंगे इंडिया में. सारे लोगों को हम बोलेंगे आप वीडियो अपलोड कर देना, हम उसमें एक ट्विस्ट डालेंगे दैट हम ऑब्जेक्ट डिटेक्ट करवा के उसे ई-कॉमर्स स्टोर से कनेक्ट करवा लेंगे. So in real time, you can actually look at a video and you can do shopping as well. So the intent was we will not make money from anything else. We'll make money from affiliate revenues. And that time e-commerce transactions were going above the roof, like 2000 करोड़ के आपके एनुअल ट्रांजैक्शन, उसमें 10% अगर आप कमा रहे हो आप ऑलरेडी 200 करोड़ की कंपनी बन जाओगे। तो हमने वैसे बेसिकली बोला दैट एक मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी है, ऐसे ग्रो कर सकते हैं। And मतलब काफी डिसेंट लग रहा है ये पूरा स्पेस ग्रो होने के लिए। But little did we know, obviously, 2016 was exactly the time towards the second half of the year where every single company said that YouTube पे content डालना बंद कर देंगे। And अभी हमें
अच्छा।
खुद का OTT प्लेटफॉर्म चाहिए। तो
हाँ,
हमने
फ्लिपकार्ट
जिनसे भी
ने
पार्टनरशिप
एक
किया
टाइम
था,
पे
जिनसे भी हमने पार्टनरशिप किया था, उन सबका हमें ईमेल आ गया that either you pay us the fixed MG or you remove our content from your platform। एंड कंपनी चालू करके तो 6 महीने भी नहीं हुए थे। लाइक चालू किया है, बेसिक ट्रैक्शन आया है, 30,000 लोग तो आ रहे हैं डेली बेसिस पे भी आते हैं, उसमें भी आप अगर पैसे मांग लोगे तो हम कहाँ से देंगे। सो देन वी काइंड ऑफ सेट टू आवरसेल्व्स दैट ये तो मॉडल अब चलेगा नहीं, बिकॉज एवरीवन इज गोइंग टू गो आफ्टर ओटीटीज, एवरीवन वांटेड टू बिकम द नेक्स्ट नेटफ्लिक्स इन इंडिया।
आपने
एवरीवन
वो टेक्नोलॉजी बिल्ड कर दी थी फॉर रिकॉग्नाइजिंग ऑब्जेक्ट्स इन द वीडियो?
यस, हमारा बेसिक टेक इन प्लेस था ऑफ रिकॉग्नाइजिंग ऑब्जेक्ट्स विद इन एनी वीडियो। So then we told ourselves that अब ये नहीं हो पाएगा। We completely went into hibernation mode. 2017 Jan is when we remember we pulled off the app from Play Store and App Store, and we told ourselves that let's go in a hibernation mode.
अभी
Spent 3
you
months.
raised funding so far? ये मतलब
नहीं, उस
खर्चे
समय
कैसे
कुछ
कर
पैसा
रहे
नहीं रेस किया था।
थे? अच्छा, okay.
It was all bootstrapped.
Okay.
Then we went into an hibernation mode. And hibernation mode में is when we started actually kind of saying that solution बनाया, solution का usage होना चाहिए. And we started going to clients directly. Upfront, we landed up in the media houses in the country, the biggest of the media houses that you can name, right? पहुंच गए उनके ऑफिस में और बैठ गए हम लोग, दैट अब हमें आपसे बात करनी है, बताओ ये जो हमने बताया आप यूज कैसे कर सकते हो। एंड दे केम बैक टू अस सेइंग दैट आज हमारे पास एक प्रॉब्लम है जिसका सोल्यूशन अभी तक हम नहीं ढूंढ पाए, वो है कंटेंट मॉडरेशन। इंडिया में सेंसरशिप स्टैंडर्ड्स वर इंक्रीजिंग एंड एवरीवन वांटेड टू गेट द कंटेंट सर्टिफाइड। कंटेंट मॉडरेशन इज एन इशू, सॉल्व दैट फॉर अस। अभी हम ये मैनुअली करते हैं, लोग हमारे टीवी पे बैठते हैं और देखते हैं और आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं कहाँ पे क्या चल रहा है और उसके हिसाब से जो भी लेबलिंग करना है वो सब करते हैं। आप ये ऑटोमेट कर लो। एंड वी सेड दैट ये तो काफ़ी ईजी है, ऑब्जेक्ट डिटेक्शन हम करते हैं, ये भी हम कर लेंगे। एंड it took us exactly 45 days to come up with a base label. Obviously, at that time, we were also doing a lot of manual annotations for training. But we created a base label. We went to these companies and we said that आप जितना पैसा इस पे खर्चा कर रहे हो उसका हाफ पैसा हमें दे दो और आप अपना वो वर्कफोर्स 50% घटा दो, बस बाकी अभी हम संभाल लेंगे और हमें 3 महीने का टाइम दे दो। 3 महीने में नहीं हुआ रिजल्ट, देन ऑब्वियसली विल पे ऑल योर मनी बैक। सो वी गॉट अवरसेल्व्स फंडेड फ्रॉम अ क्लाइंट्स ओनली। So आप upfront हमें इनवॉइसेस हम रेज करेंगे, पैसे दे दो बस। So we started kind of getting some early traction there.
And
we said
which
that
companies were these who like backed you? Like which media
there
houses?
were a lot of media companies. You name it and
नहीं
we
मतलब
went to all of
is it like news channels or is it like
them.
GEC?
GECs.
Okay.
So we went to them and they genuinely kind of, and we literally owe our journey to guys that believe back then in us, right? That said that ठीक है, मतलब if you're saying that this can be done and there is a option of us getting our money back guarantee, why not? So kind of got ourselves funded from our clients directly.
Amazing.
And said that
कितना आपने वो
हमारा
मतलब
first contract is 75 lakhs का आ गया था हमारे पास। तो we kind of said that ठीक है, यही यूज करके हम लोग अभी बिल्ड करते हैं जितना कर सकते हैं। And built it, gave the solution in less than 45 days. Everyone started liking it. And media industry word of mouth spreads like wildfire.
इसमें मुझे थोड़ा सोल्यूशन डिस्क्राइब करो ना, क्या है वो? मतलब
काफी इजी सोल्यूशन था। हमने एक बैक एंड डैशबोर्ड बनाया था जिसमें आप वीडियो अपलोड करोगे, डैशबोर्ड विल क्रिएट मल्टीपल फ्रेम्स, ईच फ्रेम में ऑब्जेक्ट डिटेक्ट होगा। तो अगर सिगरेट डिटेक्ट हो गया तो दैट विल गेट आइडेंटिफाइड, अल्कोहल बॉटल, ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स। तो बेसिक ऑब्जेक्ट्स में जो भी आपको ऑब्जेक्शनल लग रहा है वो सारे डिटेक्ट कर देंगे हम, इंक्लूडिंग ब्रांड लोगोज एंड एवरीथिंग। एंड वो सब डिटेक्ट करके हम आपको डैशबोर्ड पे इन्फॉर्मेशन दे देंगे। फिर वो आपको सीन वहाँ से एडिट करना है, कट करना है, वो आपके ऊपर है। तो आपका मैनुअल वर्क ऑफ स्क्रीपिंग थ्रू द 3 hour content is cut down. You don't have to do that anymore. In an automated environment, the 3 hour content will be done in 30 minutes is what we had guaranteed. और हो रहा था, सबके सामने सबको दिख रहा था। कुछ faults आ रहे थे, which we were like in an ever evolving process, so we were kind of continuing to fix it, and that worked brilliantly for us. Word of mouth started spreading. We started
And
getting media
इसके लिए
clients
फिर
one
how
after
were
the
you
other.
charging, like SaaS monthly subscription या per hour या
उस समय तो हमने एक सिंपल फी रखा था. आप हमें एक फिक्स कॉस्ट दे दो हर महीने, और वो कॉस्ट में इतने अमाउंट ऑफ वीडियोस कर लो. अब वो वीडियो 1 घंटे के होंगे, 2 घंटे के होंगे, 3 घंटे के होंगे, हमने उस पर बेंचमार्क नहीं लगाया. And this is what we're talking about in 2017, where for us it was all about just making money. So we're like, let's make money, let's make money, let's make money. But what that money did for us was it opened up more opportunities for us to try and experiment with a couple of other products. We said that, you know, if we are able to identify objects, we can identify a lot more information within the content. So let's try and kind of build and double down on the use cases from there. Let's try and kind of now identify, say, location, people. Let's try and build on use cases from there. So we started kind of working heavily on that. So we kind of invested everything that we made back into the business as saying that, you know, we want to develop more and more tech to kind of identify things that today people don't actually require or identify, but can be a great value proposition. So we started identifying a lot more information within these video content. We said that we'll identify location, we'll identify characters, we'll identify your OCR, which is your on-screen text. We'll identify everything, whatever a video में दिख रहा है, जो भी दिख रहा है, हम identify करने के लिए try करेंगे. So obviously that entire evolution for us happened over a period of year. But what we started then realizing the value of the data that we are capturing from the video frames was that it can automate a lot of media processes. And the only media process that we wanted to kind of adopt at that time was to kind of inject metadata back into any system. And this is what we're talking about in 2018 now. That metadata हम inject करेंगे, और metadata का usage आपको कैसे करना है करो. But what started happening is, because metadata is such an unstructured data to be used and make sense of it, we started getting calls from our clients itself saying that please make business cases out of this and send it to us. Metadata extract तो हो रहा है, इसका करना क्या है आप बता दो, and हम आपको 5-6 problem statement दे देते हैं, आप बताओ उसमें metadata use हो सकता है क्या. And the biggest problem statement in the industry at that time, believe it or not, and we are talking about 2018 December, moving into early 2019, was creation of short videos, highlights, and key moments.
okay, which you will upload on YouTube to drive traffic.
करेक्ट. यूट्यूब, सोशल मीडिया, कहीं पे भी आप अपलोड कर दो, 10 सेकंड का कंटेंट, 20 सेकंड का कंटेंट, 3 मिनट के कंटेंट, और वो ड्राइव करने के लिए आप यूज कर दो. दिस इज व्हाट एग्जैक्टली स्टार्टेड काइंड ऑफ making a lot of sense for us, right? Now we are the few people that say that we actually realized what we have to do while doing it. It's not like we got clarity in advance. We kind of got clarity while we were doing it. And the best part of it was we built immense amount of understanding of that particular space, because all our learnings was as and how the space kind of evolved. And automation of key moments and highlights was not a problem to solve back in 2016. So if you ask me that, you know, today what we're doing, did we start the company in the same way in 2016? No, we didn't. We were doing something very different, like I explained, evolved, came finally to a point where we realized that there is so much amount of content out there in the market that a solution like ours can benefit all these media houses, your broadcasters, your live events, all of these. And that's when we started kind of then narrowing down to our razor focus, saying that we'll be the company that will help automate key moments and highlights. And this was a value proposition that we started selling from 2019. And 2019 IPL was when the first time our solution went live in a completely test environment. Nothing for the public, nothing for anything to watch, but test environment. 2019 World Cup is when it went live for the first time.
तो
And then
क्या था वो solution? Just help me
simple
visualize it.
solution था, simple. Traditional way of watching a highlight था, आप टीवी चैनल पे विराट कोहली आउट हो गया, आपको उसका विकेट देखना है, तो अगर ब्रॉडकास्टर आपको दिखा रहा है टीवी पे, आप देख लोगे, सिंपल. या किसी ने क्लिप बना लिया फोन से और सोशल मीडिया पे डाल दिया, आप कहीं से जाके सर्च कर लोगे और देख लोगे. जो प्लेटफॉर्म्स थे, OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स, देयर वाज नो वे फॉर देम टू क्रिएट दीज की मोमेंट्स एंड हाइलाइट्स. तो वो लोग क्या कर रहे थे, वो लोग मैन्युअली बनाते थे फ्रेम्स. जैसे आप रिकॉर्ड कर लिया एक 10 सेकंड का फ्रेम, उसे मैन्युअली रेंडर कर लो प्रीमियर प्रो पे और फिर अपलोड कर लो. नाउ व्हेन यू आर डूइंग दिस लाइव, लेटेंसी टू क्रिएट दीज मोमेंट्स इज अपवर्ड्स ऑफ 30 मिनट्स 1 आवर. बाय द टाइम किसी ने फोन से बना के अपलोड कर दिया है सोशल मीडिया पे, खराब क्वालिटी में, लेकिन अपलोड हो चुका है. एंड जितने व्यूज है वहां पे जा चुके हैं, आपने जो कंटेंट के लिए करोड़ों खर्च किए हैं उसका अभी कुछ वैल्यू नहीं रहा है, क्योंकि रियल टाइम वैल्यू डिफीट हो चुका है. So the real time value asset was what was getting driven here. And you want to increase your monetization asset, because today your monetization asset was a single live content. But when you get multiple short form content, your monetization assets also increase. आपके पास जहाँ पे एक content है ना, आपके पास वो एक content के 100 सब parts आ गए, और वो 100 सबसेट्स में आप पूरे एनालिसिस कर सकते हो, उसमें पैसे बना सकते हो, बहुत कुछ कर सकते हो. So this is what the value propositions are kicking, that we said that we will help you automate that, bring that 30 minutes to an hour down to few seconds, sometimes go as less as real time also if possible. That was a value proposition. And then obviously rest is history. 2019 after ICC World Cup has been just a journey for us into where we are today.
Okay. Okay. So currently your focus is companies which are doing live event videos, and you are helping them to monetize that by creating
Short form videos.
highlights on the fly, matlab like almost real time. They can make highlight videos and all that, which can be posted onto social media.
Social media, their own websites, wherever they want.
Okay. So what is the output that your tool will give them? Like the video in an MP3, and then they can upload it further?
Yeah, they get an MP4 or they get a transcoded video directly. Either way. Sometimes
Transcoded video
we
क्या
don't.
हुआ? What does that mean?
ट्रांसकोडेड मतलब आप ट्रांसकोडेड रहता है जहाँ पे आपको HLS वीडियो मिलता है और डैश वीडियोस रहते हैं जो वो प्लेटफॉर्म पे ही चलेंगे स्पेसिफिकली. तो इट हेल्प्स यू सिक्योर द कंटेंट ताकि वो डाउनलोड नहीं हो पाए. सो वीडियो इनकोडिंग इंजन लगा के रखा है हमने, तो हम जब शॉर्ट वीडियोस बनाते हैं वीडियो इनकोड करके पब्लिश करते हैं.
और आप जो GECs के लिए काम कर रहे थे वो आपने छोड़ दिया, या इज दैट स्टिल गोइंग ऑन?
कंटेंट मॉडरेशन स्टिल गोज ऑन. इट्स जस्ट दैट अभी फोकस हमने GEC से शॉर्ट वीडियो प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे कर दिया है. दैट वहाँ पे कंटेंट मॉडरेशन की आज की डेट में बहुत ज़रूरत है. So obviously, while we still continue serving a couple of media clients in the content moderation space, we have now started onboarding short video apps.
Okay. तो लाइक ये जो टिकटॉक के बाद जो उसके इंडियन सक्सेसर्स एंड अल्टरनेटिव्स टू टिकटॉक,
जितने भी इंडियन सक्सेसर्स हैं आपके, our base is all that. We have been acquiring all those as a client on the content moderation side.
Okay. तो वो real time as someone uploads a video which has something objectionable, your algorithm can send back output saying that this is objectionable, and
correct, flag off the video to the platform, and then they can take an action how they want to do it. Delete it, report it to the user, unhide it, whatever they want.
Okay. ठीक है, got it, amazing. So what has been the revenue journey so far? So आपका जैसे 75 lakhs का first invoice हुआ था with the GEC channel, तो how much did you close that year at, and then 2019 तक क्या आपका revenue level पहुंच गया था?
So 2019 तक तो we were doing roughly around $500,000 in revenue.
करोड़ में कितना हुआ इंडियन रुपीस?
3.5 करोड़ के आसपास पहुंच गया था. So 2019 was that, and obviously 2020 तक जब हम लोग आए, and for us financial year is Jan to December, so my accounting works that way. Even though obviously Indian ecosystem works April to March, but just for everyone's ease who's there on the podcast listening to us, for them I just mentioning that currently the way I describe the financial is Jan to kind of December. So 19 was December for me when we had closed at that, and then obviously 2020 we kind of obviously got a little upliftment. We kind of went ahead and closed roughly around we quadrupled our revenues from where we were previously. Grew, obviously year ending is just happening, so kind of numbers are still getting churned out, but we've grown at least 4x from where we were last year.
Okay, मतलब 12-15 करोड़ के आसपास आपका 2020 टॉप लाइन रहा होगा.
Correct.
Okay, amazing. So you raised some seed funding also. I saw an article. Why did you raise funds?
See, so only reason why you raise funds always in a business is for the hyper growth, or for trying to kind of ensure to stay ahead of the curve, right? For us, it was at that time to kind of keep developing. We knew that there is an opportunity. We are probably a little early into the market. We just needed people to understand and back us in the understanding, right? That जो raise कर रहे हैं उसका utilization क्या होने वाला है, and obviously it's going to be towards a tech that is going to be a little far-fetched. So obviously the thought was that, right, seed capital raise karo to use karo for development. It was not a survival raise that we did. It was always that raise for developing. And that is something I tell everyone today. Never raise money for surviving. If you have to raise money for surviving, shut the business down. Because you have survived today, 6 महीने बाद फिर से वही situation आ जाएगा. But raise money when you kind of are growing or you don't need it. That's a phase where you know that you can probably return the money back. And for me, investor money has always been like a money that you have borrowed, right? It's not a free levered money that has come to you. It is a borrowed money that you need to return eventually. So you need to figure out ways, and you need to kind of be confident that the business in itself can return it. Because all businesses will not be hyper growth. All businesses might not require that kind of funding where you'll keep raising and an investor might be able to give an exit to another investor. But businesses should be in a situation where they, after a couple of years, can return the money back to the investors. And that's what really should be a focus for any business, right? It should not be a reliance of that, ये हो जाएगा तो हम पैसे return कर देंगे, ये हो जाएगा तो पैसे return हो जाएगा. The thought should be very clear that if you've taken money, you have to return it, but return it. The returning plans can be plan A, plan B, plan C. But in that one plan has to be that the business has to return the money.
Okay. And are you planning to raise further?
चल रहा है, वही तो अभी है. That is what we are in. We are right now in a growth phase where we are aggressively expanding to multiple geographies. And that's where now we are in a position where we want to raise capital for growth, and we see a huge opportunity in front of ourselves, and that's what the current focus is, to raise capital so that we can fuel that growth expansion aggressively.
So as in to spend on tech or to spend on marketing, client acquisition, like which side do you?
Business like ours is very enterprise driven, right? So your marketing and your sales teams are not going to really require too much of bandwidth. It's always going to be your tech, and it's going to be a little bit of mix of establishing on-ground feet, in various markets. So that's where the utilization will be for us as well. That, current tech has been able to scale to a certain point. From here to go to probably 5x, you need to kind of now grow it and fuel a couple of great resources, both on capital and on human side. So that is what is currently being focused on.
Okay. And what countries are you currently operating in?
Oh, currently we have clients in US, we have clients in Southeast Asia, Japan. Now actively we are looking to try and see if we can get clients in China as well.
Okay. And who are your competitors? Like, are there other companies which offer the same product or similar product?
Yeah. So the space has become like a hotbed in the last 1 year, definitely. Video related companies, you will see a dime a dozen coming up now, specifically in the space, because the space has become very dynamic, right? So your companies based out of Israel have started taking some leaps and strides in this. A couple of US
similar
companies,
product line, like
similar
content
product line
moderation.
Yes, content moderation, key moments and highlights. And a couple of companies have got acquired also, if you see, by the big players, right? Google has been acquiring companies. Facebook acquired a couple of companies. Twitch ended up acquiring
Google
companies.
and Facebook obviously are doing like a acqui-hire because they want that in-house capability. Well, they're not acquiring to offer it to anyone else, but
no, never. So they always acquire it so that it can only be developed for them, and then obviously eventually how the end use cases. So obviously the tech killing happens there very fast, right? Because they want to acquire it so that they can become exclusive. So the intent in the space is that after a company goes to a certain kind of stage, you acquire them so that you kill out the competition in the market for others to kind of leverage the tech. And that is how the media space is. You cut down opportunities for media companies to work with others and kind of build capabilities in-house or acquire capabilities in-house so that the competition can be killed faster.
But market opportunity kya hai? Like, say if you capture 10-15% of the market, what would that translate?
I'll tell you how big the market is, right? I won't say kitna capture karne wale, but I'll tell you how big the market is. The live streaming market today, the global live streaming market today, sits at $185 billion, right? Now, from that kind of assumption, you understand that today people are streaming 19 billion hours on Twitch. People are consuming over 1 million hours of content on an average regionally. And these are some staggering numbers that have come out, right? You realize that everyone's moved to just online consumption. And since your 4G has kind of become such a steady thing across the globe, the consumption of content, especially during pandemic, has grown multifolds, right? People have started consuming a lot more content these days. So now what started happening is people have started realizing that agar itna content hai bahar, so opportunity is obviously going to exist. So if you actually see, the short form video has spiked up to a size of almost a $15 billion market already. And in the next few years, again, it's going to continue growing at a 34% a year on. So you can say that, the market is kind of, pegged to reach at least a $50 billion in the next couple of years from the short form side. And the live streaming has already set a benchmark for itself.
Hmm. Hmm. नहीं but $50 billion is not the relevant market for you ना वो तो आप short form की बात कर रहे हो but उसमें content moderation पे कितना spend होगा like
कंटेंट
5% होगा
मॉडरेशन, मैं तो कंटेंट मॉडरेशन को अपना मार्केट भी नहीं गिनता हूँ आज के डेट में बिकॉज फॉर अस इट्स नॉट अ मेन रेवेन्यू ड्राइवर, राइट? सो फॉर अस इट्स स्टिल अ टूल दैट इज देयर इन द कंपनी. The main revenue driver has become creating short form videos from long form videos. That's creating key moments and highlights from any long form video. So when I also talk about my market, I talk about only that particular space. I have stopped talking about content moderation as a market for myself. Because for me, it's become like an add-on tool. जैसे कंपनी के अंदर एक add-on tool होता है, वो मेरा add-on tool है आज के.
Okay. So, but both of these have different set of customers. No? Like content moderation would be the platform, and
Yeah.
the highlight tool would be for the content creators.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. Cool. So, what is like, what do you think you need to master so that you are among the top three companies in this field? What do you see as those challenges in front of you that you need to overcome?
A couple of things, right? The biggest challenge is going to be to try and change perception, because tech products are always driven by perception, right? And usually products that scale out of the valley, or they scale out of Southeast Asia, the product consumption kind of changes because companies start kind of seeing it in a different scale altogether. So for us, obviously, it's going to be to try and change the perception that, that yes, we've built a decent product, but from here, so that the large enterprises of the world start taking a notice of it, the perception has to change. So the perception is going to be very important for us over a period of time, and then obviously kind of ensuring that जो space में हो, जितना आप aggressively client acquire करोगे, उतना the kind of conversation around the market will start growing, that everyone will start hearing. It's like a domino effect. One hears it, 10 people and 9 will hear it. So that is the two areas that we are focusing on as a company brand over the next 6 to 12 months. Obviously, apart from that, tech is going to be another focus for us that we want to keep evolving. If we today we are doing 12 different events, we want to grow to at least doing 30 different events by the end of this year. Can we do it? Yes. Possible है? Yes. आज feasible है with the current infra? नहीं है. And that is what we're working on.
It seems to me that you are a pretty good salesman, and because you managed to get that GEC channel to give you an upfront payment, so obviously it shows a certain amount of selling skills. So, what do you think? What's the advice you can give to people on people who want to learn how to sell? Most founders need to learn how to sell. So, what's your advice to them?
The biggest playbook in any business, right? And especially if you're building a SaaS business, is never do anything for free. It's a golden rule. The minute you start doing anything for free for any client, right, no matter how the relationship is, you will always be taken for granted, no matter how big you become. Also, I'm talking from an India perspective first, because obviously a lot of the audiences will be listening from India. uh, it's a golden kind of advice someone gave to me back in 2018. I remember still that कुछ भी हो जाए, आप उससे 1000 रुपए ले लो, बट काम के लिए कुछ पैसे आने ही चाहिए. Never do anything for free, because the minute you start doing things for free or just as a favor, things start being taken for granted, and that
नहीं
is
बट
something that you want to
आई वांट टू
avoid.
नो, आपने कैसे बेचा ये 75
So
लाख रुपीस कैसे निकाले आपने
So
विदाउट हैविंग अ
initially,
प्रोडक्ट?
I'll tell you. So initially, it didn't happen just from my cold selling. Obviously, I did get some support from external people. I had a couple of mentors within the media industry that really helped in trying to kind of formulate this.
Okay, so
What
you're saying that
real
relationships, building relationships is important
building
to sell.
relationships is important, but not everyone will have an access to it, right? And not everyone will
Hmm.
have the kind of, I would say, access to, those connections that can drive this for you. In that case, what
अच्छा,
you
ये
really do
बताओ,
always is,
you had that 6 month consulting gig, वो
yeah.
कैसे मिला आपको?
Oh, that happened through references. That was complete
So वो भी
references.
relationship ही है, तो basically
Yes,
your
we
secret to
ended up
sales
through
is
references. So I'll tell you a golden thing that happened जब हमने वो contract land किया था, first contract, right? हमने सिर्फ एक चीज बोला था हमारे क्लाइंट्स को, दैट अगर हम नहीं डिलीवर कर पाएंगे 6 महीने में, हम आपका पूरा पैसा रिटर्न कर देंगे, और 6 महीने तक हम आपका पैसा टच भी नहीं करेंगे। सिंपल। तो आपको आपके पूछना नहीं पड़ेगा आप ये पैसा यूज करोगे क्या होगा। 6 महीने के लिए आपको चाहिए, मैं एक अकाउंट में रख दूंगा, और आप हर महीने मेरे से अकाउंट का डिटेल्स मांग, मैं आपको दे दूंगा और मैं बता दूंगा आपके पैसे यहाँ पड़े हुए हैं। 6 महीने में अगर आपको प्रोडक्ट सही लग गया, मैं वो पैसे वहां से ट्रांसफर कर दूंगा मेरे अकाउंट में और यूज कर लूंगा। अगर नहीं लगा, आई विल रिटर्न द एंटायर मनी बैक टू यू, बिकॉज व्हेन यू आर अ स्मॉल कंपनी, द ओनली थिंग इज व्हेन यू आर टेकिंग एडवांसेस, राइट? हाउ विल यू पे मी बैक इफ यू आर डूइंग अ मनी बैक गारंटी व्हेन यू आर अ स्मॉल कंपनी? And my only answer to this was to them, which is one of the worst advices I could give to anyone. You should never do this. You should take the money and you should use it because you're taking it for your product. But we were at that time trying to prove ourselves. We said that we will not use the money, and we genuinely did not touch that money for 6 months. And can you believe that we actually ran the ship for 6 months without actually getting any external stir to it, and not really having any kind of onboard engines. We basically just ran the ship, मतलब चप्पू जैसे चलाते वैसे चला रहे थे सब, basically. And obviously, that vote of confidence kicked in when after the 6 month period we delivered, right? And then obviously it was all history. Once you deliver a project and then you know that people are going to be excited about it, then it's just a matter of time that the word spreads and everyone will know that these guys have value. And when you're working with big organizations and especially you're a small company, the only thing that really matters is वो scale के लिए आप deliver कर पाएंगे या नहीं. If you can deliver for that scale with a small amount of bandwidth, your trust value has been built in the industry.
Okay, cool. So I'm done with the questions that I could think of. Can you think of any other questions which I should ask?
Oh, nothing. Nothing more than what probably you've asked. I think there should be a good starter for people who are looking at kind of starting their own businesses, especially in the SaaS side. कभी कुछ फ्री में मत बेचना, पैसे चार्ज कर दो, रिटर्न कर देना बाद में अगर नहीं लग रहा है अच्छा प्रोडक्ट, आपका गिल्ड बोल रहा है दैट ये प्रोडक्ट के लिए मुझे चार्ज नहीं करना है, मनी बैक गारंटी दे दो एट मैक्स, बट नेवर डू एनीथिंग फॉर फ्री. द मिनट यू स्टार्ट चार्जिंग पीपल, the feedbacks that you'll get for your product will be the most candid feedbacks. You'll get the most blunt feedbacks for your product. And this is what you need as an early stage entrepreneur. You need people who can give you point blank advices and no better than your client giving you those feedbacks.
हम्म. तो मुझे एक चीज बताओ, why do you hesitate to share names? So for example, आपने वो कौन थे अर्ली क्लाइंट्स उनका नाम नहीं शेयर किया, वीसी फंड का नाम नहीं शेयर किया, उसका रीजन क्या है? मतलब वो व्हाट्स द थिंकिंग बिहाइंड दैट?
There's no thinking. We want to be someone that is kind of so value for us was always that drive name for the company. Everything else is just a catalyst. If the company has built a decent name, most of the data is public anyways today. मेरे बोलने से या ना बोलने से कुछ चेंज नहीं होने लगा. If you go online, you will see everything. You go to our website, you will see everything. And it's not a hard thing to understand who are our early clients when you go to our website. साफ दिख जाता है. So the thing for us and especially for me has been that build a company where the company has a larger brand value than the external factors trying to kind of grow. Today, I take this inspiration from Tata, right? You never compare Tata to Tata ke clients ko. It's always reverse. It's always reverse, right? And they are that Tata has got them as their clients. So we want to be someone of that sort, right? I know that's basically my aspiration. So if you ask me 5 साल का plan क्या है, that's the plan. 5 साल में people in the industry should know the other way around and not the reverse way for us.
Do you want to become B2C from B2B or you want to stay B2B?
अभी तो B2B है, अभी इंस्पिरेशन B2B में ही है. एस्पिरेशन B2C के लिए हर क्वार्टर में जागता है, लेकिन फिर we kill it off also. We say that अभी रुक जाते हैं. B2C is a different ball game altogether.
Beyond Campus is brought to you by Unnati and is a production of the Podium.in. If you like this show, then we are sure you will love our other shows on subjects like entrepreneurship, marketing, books, and drama. Check out the Podium.in for a complete list of all our shows.